Alright kids, 3.1 part 2 on substitution. So yesterday we solved by graphing. Today we're solving by substitution. Let's take a look at how that would work. One of the easy type of problems here, just to get us started with the basics, is when they give us our two equations and one of them is already solved for one variable. 2y plus 5x equals negative 16, and y equals 2x plus 1. I already have what y equals. Okay, y equals 2x plus 1, so I'm going to put 2x plus 1 up in place of y. I'm going to substitute that in place of y in the other equation. See how it was 2 times y, and now I put in 2 times 2x plus 1. That's going to be the substitution there. Now I need to distribute that. Put together my 4x and 5x for 9x. Subtract 2. Divide by 9, and x equals negative 2. Okay, not done yet. We're going to substitute again. I have my x, now I want to know what y is. And here we have this y equation already done. Y equals 2x plus 1. Let me put that x right back in for it. So I'm going to put that x, negative 2, in for x up here. So we'll get negative 4 plus 1. Y will equal negative 3. And our final answer there should be negative 2, comma, negative 3. Alright. Here are the steps. If you want to pause this and write those down in your notes, you can do that. Okay, our first step here, and this is just my words. If you want to pause and write those down in your own words, if you want to rewrite it, that'd be fine. Okay, we want to solve for one variable in one of the equations if it is not already done. In the example we just did, y was already by itself, so we didn't have to do that step. In the next problem we do, we'll have to do that step. Then we need to substitute what that variable equals in place of it in the other equation. Solve the other equation for the variable that's left. And then once we get that, our first variable solved, we put it back into the first equation we were working with to solve for the variable that we still need. Okay, so here we had y was already solved by itself, so we didn't have to do step 1. We substituted it in, so then we could solve for x. Then we got x, so we substitute that back into the first equation we were working with and solve for our last variable. Let's try a different one here where we actually have to work a little bit. So just a little bit more difficult, not a whole lot more, but enough so that you get the idea of how this is going to work. Okay, these two equations here, we have y plus 2x equals 7, and 5x minus 3y equals 23. Okay, I don't have one variable by itself yet in either equation, so I'm going to have to do that, step 1. I'm going to have to solve for one variable in one of the equations. You could do it for either one. I think there's one that should be hopefully a more obvious choice than the other. I think our first equation would be the easiest. So why don't we subtract 2x, okay, can go 7 minus 2x or negative 2x plus 7, however you want to write that, that'd be fine. Alright, so now we have y by itself. Let's substitute that back in. And I realize that both of these here we got y equals. It doesn't have to be that way. You could solve for x and substitute that in to start off as well. So I'm going to put this in place of y into the second one. So we have 5x. Now be careful here with the negative 3 times 7 is going to be minus 21, and negative 3 times the negative 2x, we get plus 6x. 5x and 6x is 11x. Let's add 21 to both sides and divide by 11. We should get x equals 4. Okay, we got our first variable done. We'll move that on in back to our first equation we were working with. Drop it in for x. Whoopee. We'll have 7 minus 8 for a negative 1. 4 comma negative 1. Alright. And that is how we do substitution. Just a couple special cases to look for. If you were to substitute in, let's say we had 2 times 2x plus 1 minus 4x equals 2. Okay, let's say you did some substitution and this happened. We had 4x plus 2 minus 4x equals 2. My x's are actually going to drop out, 4x minus 4x, and I'm going to be left with 2 equals 2. If you have a situation where you're very